Hello everyone, the Vern here from Cinema Recall. Like most other podcasters out there, I used to worry about finding a good hosting site that will allow me to post episodes without worrying about space or my bank account. Well, with Anchor, I no longer have those worries. With Anchor, they have all the great tools that make podcasting very easy, not only on a desktop, but on your smartphone as well. Plus, they will do the work to get your show on multiple podcast players such as Spotify, Stitcher, Podchaser, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and much, much more. You can earn money with limited listeners too. And the best thing of all, they will do this all for free. That's right, free. So go to Anchor FM today.
In 2001, 20th Century Fox took a chance on director Baz Luhrmann's ambitious project. He had success with his modern update of William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, but now he was going to co-write and direct an original musical for the big screen. That project was Moulin Rouge, co-written with Craig Pearce and starring Nicole Kidman, Ewan McGregor, Jim Broadbent, John Leguizamo, and more. It was a tale of truth, beauty, freedom, and above all else, love. But does it still hold up? I'm the Vern here from the Cinema Recall podcast from That Moment In Presents, and after the break, I'm going to dive into this movie and find out what works and what doesn't work. Alright, so stay tuned.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Here's a few reasons why you should be listening to the Unwritable Rant podcast with host Juliet Miranda. She can tell a great story.
If you can't play dead, play drunk. And it works, I swear.
She interviews celebrities that have great stories.
If we have a cousin that's kind of strange, we don't put him away or tuck him away. We set him on an old dryer out in the front yard with alcohol and let him wave at people.
Right. And then you tell your friends about it.
And she's tolerant and loves kids.
So these kids go running up after the ball, and I stand up and I yell, "Kids die in the street all the time."
So head on over to theunwritablерant.com and listen to the show.
Come and get me, boys.
Every man wanted her.
Let's make you a star.
But one man dared to love her.
I can't fall in love with anyone.
Can't fall in love.
From the visionary director of William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. The music. The magic. Of Moulin Rouge. Only in theaters.
Welcome back, everyone. You just heard the trailer, and now I'm going to be giving you a quick plot synopsis. And be warned, there are spoilers, but it's not really spoilers because this happens in the first 5 minutes. So, alright, so this movie, Moulin Rouge, is about a writer named Christian, played by Ewan McGregor. He is writing about his time at the Moulin Rouge and the woman named Satine he has loved and who has died. The movie goes on to tell how they first met and fell in love, yada yada. There's a villain that wants Satine for purely sexual needs. Songs are being sung, yada yada. Now, most musicals made before this time that were successful were adaptations of previous hits, and the last one I can recall that tried to incorporate modern music was Xanadu back in '82, but I could be mistaken, so please send all complaints to cinemarecall@gmail.com. Before this one, the only live-action musical I can think of being widely marketed was Evita, and that was mainly due to Madonna being in the main lead there, but it barely made back its budget. However, Moulin Rouge would be different. It would gross $57 million on a budget of $50. It won 2 Academy Awards of its 8 nominations, including Best Art Direction by Catherine Martin and Bridget Roche, and Costume Design by, again, Catherine Martin and Angus Strathy. It was nominated for Best Picture alongside the first Lord of the Rings picture, The Fellowship, but lost to A Beautiful Mind. Now, the following year, another musical, Chicago, would take home the gold for Best Picture. The best way I can describe this movie is that it is a fever dream. The very fast editing by Jill Bilcox, who helped edit not only this movie but Romeo and Juliet, and then Baz Luhrmann's first feature, Strictly Ballroom, really emphasized that, because when the Christian character first goes into the Moulin Rouge, everything is just really fast-paced, and it's cut very much like an MTV music video. I mean, it was very clear that this movie was to be marketed to a younger generation, to make them more interested in seeing musicals. And the way that the sounds are choreographed in this is really kind of cool. Like I said before, the beginning sequence, you have 1970s disco, you have 90s alternative grunge, as well as techno, and it all just blends in together into this mix. And as the story progresses, the camera work and the editing stops being less frenetic, and you start to slow down, and you start to understand the story more. If I have any complaints, now it has nothing to do with the singing. I think the cast in this is really good. I think Nicole Kidman has a really great voice. Ian McGregor, I knew he had a great voice after his performance in the movie Lifeless Ordinary. He had to do a duet with Cameron Diaz, and she doesn't have the best voice, but he does, so that was kind of cool. The only downside I have with this movie is that it reminds us too much about the character Santine and her demise. You know, like, it has moments where it's being very bright and funny and colorful, and then, oh no, it's gotta remind us that the character Santine is gonna die soon. And it should have been just mentioned once in the beginning, and then not at all, because I guarantee you, everyone will forget about it, because they are most likely going to concentrate on if both Santine and the Christian character are going to end up together. And I forgot to mention too, there's another character in this called the Duke, and he wants to have Santine for himself for sexual pleasures, because Santine is a courtesan, a hooker, per se, and she mistakes Christian for being this Duke that's supposed to give her and her theater troupe, or I guess theater of hookers and whores, money so that she can become a real actress, but she ends up falling in love with him for real. I think if the writers just concentrated on the tension of whether Christian and Santine's relationship getting discovered by the Duke to be much more effective than constantly trying to remind us that Santine is going to die soon. Yeah, that's like my only big gripe about it. I do remember the soundtrack of this being really huge, especially the cover of Lady Marmalade by Pink, Maya, Little Kim, and Christina Aguilera. I remember that one being in heavy rotation when this film was out. So after the success of Moulin Rouge, Baz Luhrmann reteams with his leading actor Nicole Kidman to make the film Australia in 2008. Co-starring Hugh Jackman, this film was a bomb compared to the success of Moulin Rouge. And then a few years later, in 2013, he teams up with actors Leonardo DiCaprio, Carey Mulligan, Joel Edgerton to create his version of F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby. And this film was a little bit more of a success due to the hip modern soundtrack that was used. The movie is set in the 20s, but it uses modern songs to help tell the story, and that film was slightly better, but not by much. But the actual Moulin Rouge itself has become a pretty successful Broadway play now. Now, I don't follow plays or Tonys, so I have no idea if this movie did any good, and I could look it up, but I'm here mainly talking about the movie itself. And I think the movie itself still holds up to this day. I do like the way that each song is just a jukebox of other pop songs. It'll have like a lot of different pop hook melodies that you recognize and have known for years. And the way that Craig Pierce and Baz Luhrmann edit those song lyrics together into one is actually really quite brilliant stuff. I've known other movies to do this, but not do that much of an effect. But yeah, that's really kind of gonna wrap up my thoughts about this movie. I recently just saw it back on the big screen, and I gotta say, it does hold up. I totally agree with all the Academy Award nominations that won for. It's definitely a movie of its time, especially with the MTV generation and that type of marketing. You could definitely not try and do this today. I think most people, when they watch it now, they're gonna see all the fast editing and crazy camera angles, and they're not gonna really understand what's going on here. There's a green fairy from When They Take Absinthe, played by Kylie Minogue, and has the voice of Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, so it also was the start of bringing in more musicals, because since this was a hit, they were able to make, like I said before, Chicago, and Chicago led to other more live action, because before Moulin Rouge, most musicals were animated. Like, the best musicals probably were just Disney animated cartoons, and this one helped rush in a new slew, and because of this, I think that's one of the reasons why flips like La La Land, it got greenlit, but La La Land is more of a throwback to older musicals, and this is trying to be a new musical. And I know they tried to do the same type of format with Rock of Ages, which I have not seen, don't really care to either. But anyways, folks, that's it right now. I'm kind of going to rambling here, but as always, check out all of our other podcasts. We are on That Moment in Presents, so when you type in on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Spotify, type in That Moment in Presents. Yeah, so anyways, please check out all of our episodes. We don't have much right now, but we're on, latest for Anchor. Anchor's our big site that we post shows on. But our social media outlets are at Twitter, at cinema_recall. On Facebook and Instagram, we are Cinema Recall Podcast. As always, check out all the articles and other information over at thatmomentin.com. That is all right now. I'm the Vern, and I hope you cats have a great day.